Are you behind
What
on
up?
credit card bills? Good, pick up the phone.
What's good?
Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. Does your girlfriend think you're a fucking worthless loser? Good.
Somebody
Pick up
needs
the
to hear
phone
this.
and start dialing. I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
Yeah. Money, money. It could solve a problem depending on the honey.
I just like
You could drip, drip. Not the way the young people mean it. Flip. Semantics. Words don't mean shit without the thoughts behind it. Atlantis is a place that exists in fiction or reality. Don't make sense to me. I'm stuck in traffic. I just peed in the bottle. I can't really put it in the fifth gear. The throttle don't work when there's cars everywhere. I feel like sardines in a pack of old hair. Oh well. Get it together. Can't talk about his smell, but we having some good weather. Gavin Newsom is a bit challenging. Did you know that his relative is Nancy Pelosi? What? Are you serious? What's up? What's good, y'all? It's FRESH2020. It's the VlogKast. Vlog meaning video blog. Cast with the K, like Outcast, like podcast. So, yeah, you dig. I sort of stopped counting after episode 100. I was gonna do a full year every day, but that's crazy. I got kids and I got things to do. But I love talking to y'all. It's very therapeutic. And my freestyles at the beginning and at the end, it's very much for me. It's very selfish because it gets my mind open and at ease, and it's like defragging a computer. Remember old school computers, you had to defrag them, right? That's what freestyling does for me. And sometimes it's fiction, sometimes it's satire, sometimes it's autobiographical, but you never know which is which. And if anything is incriminating, that's fiction. Got it? Got it. So, fun fact, I have been very actively following and monitoring our First Lady, the Governor of California, Gavin Newsom. And he's been tweeting a lot, telling people to wear their masks. And I've been enjoying replying to him. And, you know, it's one of the fun parts of having social media. You know, it's a lot of things wrong with it, but hey, if it brings me a little bit of joy, a little dopamine hit to give our First Lady of California a piece of my mind, then I'm gonna do that. That's my First Amendment rights, you know, free speech and whatnot. Even though, let's face it, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, given that Newsom is on the blue team, you know what I mean, right? He's on the blue team. I suppose if I antagonize them too much, they'll probably find some excuse to punish me or to warn me or to ban me or something. Because if you haven't noticed by now, oh my goodness, the slant, the bias towards the left is unmistakable. It is unbelievable. I mean, I had heard, you know, phrases like the liberal media, right? Fake news. These are terms that I've heard over and over again in the past few years. But good grief. I mean, good grief. It is just so overt. Just try. You know, hide your biases a little bit. So I was listening to the news, the traffic. What's today? Today's Thursday, July 9th, 2020. If y'all remember, in Palmdale, California, where the gentleman was found hanging in the tree, Mr. Robert Fuller, rest in peace, So apparently, it's in the headlines again today. Not exactly sure why, but I think it's been 30 days since either he was found or since they put up a memorial or something. But I believe that the autopsy results have deemed it a suicide. So I guess that is why it was in the news. So just following up on that, because I mentioned it before. And it's, I was worried that it didn't matter, the results of the autopsy, because if people, protesters, concerned citizens, you know, if they find out that it wasn't a suicide, that it was a homicide, that would be horrible, and people would want answers, they'd want justice. I was concerned that if it came out as a suicide, that people wouldn't trust it or believe it. So I am hoping that everything remains peaceful in my neck of the woods, and that the family does find closure, solace, justice, everything, you know, peace and love to all. Peace and love to all. Except you, Gavin. You can go fuck yourself. You and your aunt. Nancy Pelosi is your aunt? What? What? Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, as I affectionately call the First Lady of California. Your aunt is what is she, the Speaker of the House? Or she used to be a Speaker of the House or whatever? She got 2 sets of eyebrows. That should disqualify her from anything in public. If it was a condition, you know, something she couldn't control, okay, I would never judge someone based solely on their appearance. However, if part of your job is inspiring confidence amongst the people, the citizenry, your constituents, and you voluntarily confuse people with 2 sets of eyebrows, don't do that. That is, who is your makeup person? Who's your stylist? Who's your publicist? Get your life together. I mean, your nephew, Miss Pelosi, respectfully, your nephew is a way more attractive lady than you are with your 4 eyebrows. You know, it's not the most politically correct thing to say, but have y'all known me to be politically correct? Come on, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, shall we? Oh, I was at the bank today. You know what's interesting to me? Because I've been showing y'all, right, my quarter, my commemorative 2020 25-cent piece. It's a $quarter, right? And as far as I can tell, the only commemorative quarter that they made for 2020 is a bat. It's got a mama bat and a baby bat. And every person that I show, they've never seen one. I think that's interesting. Even at the bank. Actually, one person had seen them, and they were collecting them too, like I am. I mean, come on. This is news. This is something. A collector's item. Wow. What a coincidence. Did you know that China quietly admitted that the COVID-19 virus, in fact, did not originate at the wet market from the bat juice? Yeah. So I didn't see the report myself, but I did hear it from multiple credible sources. So, with that off the table, using Occam's razor, basically the simplest answer is usually the correct one. And given that the Wuhan, the level 4 Wuhan lab, which is the only one in the world, or one of 2. So, the coincidence would just be too great if it didn't come from there. So that's interesting. And we talked about yesterday how Trump formally declared that we will be disengaging from the WHO, the what? The World Health Organization. Isn't that interesting? I wonder if the CDC is on the chopping block. I guess the World Health Organization, world, I guess that's not a, what are they connected with? I want to see a flow chart of the funding for all these various bodies to help with my understanding of where and whence the fuckery originates. So the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, they put out guidelines, right? Whatever that means. And they called me. You know, I was thinking to myself, since the quarantine, I've been getting much less of these sales calls, these unsolicited robo-dial, very sneaky, because it pops up as my area code. So I'm like, oh, local person. Maybe it's a client. Maybe it's a friend with an... Oh, it's not. It's the Centers for Disease Control. They've called me twice. And so be on the lookout for that. I didn't get very far in the conversation as I was busy. But I did hear what the lady had to say. And she said that they were conducting a survey, a very important survey, regarding childhood vaccines. That's what she said. I don't believe you. First of all, let that be known. I do not believe you. If you call me a third time, if you call me thrice, I may engage for my own morbid curiosity and to tie you up, so that way you can you won't have the opportunity to harass as many people that day. So that's my strategy there. So the script interests me. We're calling to conduct a very important survey about childhood vaccines. Do you have any children in your household under the age of 18? And again, I don't believe you. I believe that this is a bait and switch. I believe this is false pretense. I believe they are doing some form of tracking and tracing attempt. I believe if they are conducting a survey, it is not for childhood vaccines. It's got to be related to COVID. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they put forth money, resources, and time right now in 2020 in July to do a childhood vaccine survey? Come on, I'm not stupid. Do not insult my intelligence. I don't appreciate that. So I wanted y'all to be on the lookout for that if they call. And you're not required to divulge your personal information. You're just not. And they may, you're kind of like when a collection agency calls and they say, hey, we're calling on a recorded line, you owe this, this, and this. You're not required to give them anything. Information, money, help. You're just not. But people will trick you. It's kind of like, believe my tone, but disregard the content. That trick, that method is very deceptive, scandalous. I don't appreciate it. Something that I really don't care for about our form of, what's the term, laissez-faire capitalism is, I feel like, to sum it up, how I would define it is like, make sure you don't get fucked over while you're fucking over everyone else. What do you mean by that? Well, I'd be happy to expound on it. So, if, let's say, you're a manufacturer of a food product, and then it's not CDC, the FDA, Food Drug Administration, says, hey, we can no longer have this, and this in the product, so don't do that. So, in a perfect world, that company would, take out the harmful ingredients, take it all off the shelves and come back, reformulate a better product that's not harmful at all. But I would assume, because of the incentives and the fiduciary duty that corporations have to their shareholders, I would imagine that they find the next best, next cheapest option, or whatever loopholes are available to continue to poison the people consuming their products, and just change some words or change some spellings or whatever. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel I'm being treated in general by all corporations that is, let's pick an arbitrary number, larger than 50 people, right? Mom and pop, I tend to trust them because you can look them in the eye and you can see, you can get the vibe, see if they're good people. And I don't feel that way with corporations. I don't trust it. I can't think of one that I trust. They're all in it for themselves. And that is, it's quite a shame. It is quite a shame. I've been hearing a lot of talk about the schools, whether or not they're going to be reopening and to what degree. I heard that North Carolina, I guess they have quite a problem, a spike in COVID cases, to the point where, as per the press conference, the White House press conference today, one of the journalists asking questions seemed to be quite concerned about North Carolina and Florida to some degree as well. And seems to be that the White House's position is we want the schools to open, and that the risk reward is kind of speaks for itself, right? So I don't know how that's going to play out. I do have a personal vested interest in that, and I'm very concerned being here in California, knowing that Cuomo, the First Lady of New York, with his funky, nipple rings, tweeted out that he was partnering with Bill Gates to reimagine education going forward. That terrified me to my soul. My bones were aching when I read that. Because New York, state of New York, the state of California, who clearly are just broken. And I mean broken because the leadership are compromised and or stupid and or immoral and have way too much political power because of the population. So interestingly enough, when you look at the funding that's going to come down, so this is a state thing, right? This is something I don't know that I need to learn more about. What can the federal government do to mandate funding on the state level for K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade? What can they do? I remember everyone getting a good laugh at, is it Betsy DeVos? She's Secretary of Education, having a good old laugh at her poor showing at her, the congressional hearing or whatever, to see if she's qualified. But from conversations that I'm having with educators here in Southern California, it seems like the current administration, the Trump administration, is focused on making sure that the funding ends up in the hands of the students and the parents, as opposed to the districts that may be closed for on-site learning. And this is something that I heard from Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary. So that's interesting. Woo, woo. That's the sound of the police. So I don't know. I want to know more about that. States' rights, states' power, states' authority versus where's the line? What happened to the separation of church and state? What happened? Is there a separation of church and federal too? What about the schools? Is there a separation of church and schools? Because you can't pray in school, right? I'm going on a tangent now. I'm off the rails. Let's end this. Let's save something for tomorrow. It's Thursday. Tomorrow, Face Your Fear Friday. I got things to do. Man, I miss my babies. I do. I miss them a lot. And that's the reason I do the things that I do. Never forget. Never forget. Never forget. All buildings matter. Context. I'm the Mad Hatter. You see my smile? It's welcoming. You see my mustache? Comparing it to people. Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell. I heard she gonna stay alive and tell. Won't that be super interesting? See how that shakes out pending. Everybody knows that indictments were sealed for a minute. Now they seem to be coming to the light in the instant. Bomb bursting in the air. I don't care. I see everything except the glare. My photo ID, FKA, most def. I never look straight into the sun, but I can be kept. Keep a secret, I am kept. Crypt keeper, I am kept. Anyway, it's FRESH2020. Canatonic.co is the website to go. And use the code FRESH2020 for instant savings on your CBD orders. It supports a lot of systems, a lot of things, a lot of homeostasis. According to Gavin Newsom, wear your mask, period. Go check out his tweet. Check out my response. I thought it was pretty witty and pretty clever. More importantly than your masks and your gloves and your distancing, more importantly, educate your immune system. Educate yourself on how to educate your immune system. And by golly, give your body the things that it needs to fight the dis-ease. Peace.